Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the President of the U.S. Track and Field and Cross Country Coaches Association, Mr. Curtis Fry.
Wow, they didn't tell me I was going to have to read. They just said you're the president. And I thought that entailed just walking around wearing red ties and shaking hands. Hey, this is an important moment. I want to spend this moment welcoming you here. I want to encourage you to be involved and let you know that your voice is important. I want you to understand how important the organization is. And I want you to step up and be involved at every meeting that you go to. This association is your association. You're important to our success, and I would like to keep the thoughts in mind this week that you are the association. Please do that for me. There are a few things that we have to do, and for us to run this organization, and for us to have these great benefits that Sam, our CEO, has helped organize, we have to have some people to recognize. They are our great friends, and they are our sponsors to our association. Mondo, MF Athletics, UCS, and UCS Sprint, our association, they are our association sponsors. Then we have our network members, vendors, Bynum Sports Services, MF Athletics, Mondo, Tartan, UCS, UCS Spirit, and VS Athletics. All of these are our network. Convention sponsors, AccuSplit, Balford, Bynum's Sports and Services, Brooks, Direct Athletics, MF Athletic Company, Mondo, Nike, UCS, and UCS Spirit. You know, I want you to do something for me, but before I ask you just to do something simple, I want you to put your money where your claps are. Make sure that we support people that support us. Now, after saying that, you get an opportunity to go visit these persons, make calls to these sponsors, but don't just call buy. Money is power. We have money. They support us. And I want to encourage you to buy from the people that support you. Please give these sponsors a round of applause. Now let me take you through a moment of review. You know, we'd like to thank this morning's MF for our breakfast. It was a great breakfast, and I noticed a lot of you took advantage of it. Bynum Service will be sponsoring tonight's symposium. Make sure that you go by and try to gain some knowledge and work with it and see what we can come up with that makes us the best sport in the world. A special thank also goes to all of our exhibitors. They will be open until 10:30 tomorrow morning. If you haven't already stopped by and visit, their location is the Mediterranean Ballroom. I noticed a lot of you were out there last night having some happy fun, so you know where it's located. One of the big things that we have tonight, our friends at Mondo, Great American Barbecue. Outdoors, you will find it. Be sure to come early. If I get there before you, it won't be as much food left. Tomorrow, we'll have professional development. In professional development, we have some outstanding presenters. Sharon Taylor, athletic director at Lock Haven, speaking on women's issues. And she's one of the authorities and has been involved in athletics for most of her life. And then we have Jeff Duke on motivating the 21st century athlete. Jeff is a foremost expert on cultural influence of coaches in society. You know, we need to know what our impact is from a professional and numbers point of view on the impact that we make on the society. And the 21st century athlete, that's a different cat. Make sure that you visit there. I'm going to try and spend some time and see how I can motivate this athlete. Again, let me remind you, UCS and UCS Spirit will be sponsoring breakfast tomorrow morning. Make sure you go by and see our Zaz. Dr. Zaz is of sports equipment. These guys are always innovative and they have things that you couldn't imagine being there. Then again, let's talk about tomorrow night. Something that's totally awesome. It's a long time coming. Each year around this time, we get a chance to sit up on Saturday and see the candidates for Heisman. It's an effect on this country. It goes back, every school in the country wants a Heisman. Well, we get to have our Bowerman. Our Bowerman Award is for its first time, will be presented. 6 athletes will attend. The Bowerman will be tomorrow night, starts at 6 o'clock in this room. And then we have our prestigious Hall of Fame banquet. Our Hall of Fame banquet will be next door. You'll be able to enter in between the two. This room will be set up such that you can go back and forth. But once we're here, we'll walk straight through and celebrate some people that are very deserving. On a personal note, I hope you bring your camera. I think we should make our Bowerman feel like Heisman's. I think we should get autographs. I think that we should make sure that each one of those candidates feels special because their achievement are special. And so then Thursday will be breakfast. Again, you know, I talk a lot about eating. And I'm at every one of those breakfasts and lunches and dinners. I think when they were designing this, they were having me in mind. But breakfast and then we'll have professional development. You get a chance to, and I hope this is for meet directors and the timers, to visit our TIFA and make sure that you understand the processes of entering your athletes and getting their results so that they can be on the list and get national qualified. You know, this is a moment that if they had to tell me the only thing I had to do was to do this, it'd be more than I could imagine. We have a moment to recognize a George Dale Award winner. You know, George Dale is this guy, a lot of you in here don't remember, he's a big man about this high. Sits in the corner, has every institution's name. He knew everybody's All-American. He knew everybody that hadn't paid to be in the room at every NCAA championship, and he collected every dollar. But that's the part that we just kind of associate with. But he was a great track coach at Central Michigan University. This award is going to an innovator. This award is going to a leader, going to an administrator, a leader in the community, a leader in the state, and a leader in this country. The George Dale Award is going to a man most called Doc. You know, Doc was born June 14, 1918, the grandfather of a slave, youngest of 13. His mother was his inspiration, and as he pursued to become a top student, and he wasn't getting everything that he thought he should get, it has been told that she said, "Hone your talents, work hard, and recognition will come its way." You know, Doc, as he's called, we're fortunate because he missed the deadline for admission to Harvard Med School. See, lots of people don't know Doc was top in his class. Doc became the chancellor of the University of North Carolina at Durham, normally called NCCU, North Carolina Central University. At North Carolina Central University, he was a football, basketball, and then he started the track team. He started the track team, and my first knowledge of him was when his team won the Division II National Championship, and they came over at that time to run against the Division I National Championship. And a guy named Larry Black was the anchor leg on a mile relay against a guy named John Smith. North Carolina Central needed 2 points at the combined national championship to win both championships, and Larry Black's shoe came off on the curve as he was moving forward, and John outleaned him for UCLA to win a national championship. He almost won both championships. He drove a van across the country, got out on Tuesday after running on Saturday to bring his team to run against a team waiting for his team at the NCAA championship. He chaired the AAU. He was president of USATF. He was a member of the NICE, chaired the NICE Commission, the first study done on NC2A's reform. He was the USOC first African-American president. He's the author of 7 books. His career profile by Who's Who in American Blacks. He's in a book called Hard Road to Glory. Arthur Ashe wrote about him in the history of African-American athletes. The first 100 years in sports covered Dr. Walker. One of his great athletes, Lee Calhoun, 1956 gold medalist, and 1960 gold medalist in the hurdles. Charles Foster, one of his great athletes, is a coach now at Virginia Tech and a longtime great Olympian. We can go on. George Williams, mentored by Dr. Walker, our 2004 Olympic coach. I go again. Thankful to Dr. Walker, or Jamaica, because he helped coach the Jamaican Olympic team. Thankful to Dr. Walker, Kenya. He helped coach Kenyan team. Trinidad, he helped coach Ethiopia in '56 at the same time as he coached Calhoun to a medal. He coached a marathon runner in '56 to gold, and the same marathon runner to a gold in 1960. He had to coach abroad, bring recognition, because his mama told him to hone his talents and recognition was come. He had attempted to make the Olympic coaching staff for the United States of America, but he was successful and had coached 12 Olympians abroad before he was able to become the 1976 Olympic coach. You know, Doc stuck to us and stayed with us. He retired from coaching in 1980. We thought that's the last we hear of him. But all those friends he made in all those other countries would become a resource for us. The resource was that Doc had a dream that the Olympics would be in Atlanta, his hometown. So Doc went to work in 1980, using his influence to bring the Olympics to Atlanta. I've spoken enough. I see my wife and Doc both kind of saying, cut it. So I'm going to tell you this. Innovator, administrator, community leader. I'm going to present to you, after reading some things that are on the inscription of George Dale Award. The George Dale Award is fitting for our honoree today. It reads, "This award is named in the honor of a long-time Western Michigan coach, George Dale, for his relentless pursuit in the growth and development of cross-country, track and field over more than half a century. This award is presented annually by U.S. Track and Cross Country Coaches Association to a distinguished individual. Who more deserving than our nominee, Dr. Leroy Walker?"
Am I permitted to say something?
Yes.
I think one of the most sincere thing to do, and the one that is most appreciated, could you please stand for just a second? The reason I ask that of you, I would not be surprised if at least 60% of those standing here looking at me can easily say, I did a lot of things to help him get to where he is today. And I would like, while you are standing, to tell you how much I appreciate that. The nice things that were said by our noble announcer here, and one of the individuals that so much of us can appreciate. His remarks is essentially what I can appreciate for what has been done for me by most of you. So that I don't hold you too long, please be seated. Yeah. Now, don't you have remarks to make? Or you've said all you're going to say?
I'm going to say all that. I'm going to say thank you, Doc. That'll be my last. Thank you a lot. You want me to help y'all?
What do you want to do?
I'm going to help you walk down if you don't got nothing to say. You got anything else you want to say? Let's go. Hey, Doc.
Every sport has its Vince Lombardi. Without any other stories, because I could go on about stories about Dr. Leroy Walker and his impact on myself. First, let's talk a few minutes. Doc, we want to thank you for those remarks and letting us be a part. You know, telling us, as young as they are, that you stand on our shoulders for your recognition is breathtaking. Curtis Fry can never be, or I'm dreaming to be 10% of the things that you've accomplished. If I can do 10% of them, I will have reached my list and feel pretty complete. So thanks again, Dr. Walker. Well, there are other things. First, let me talk a little bit about our association awards and some business. Let me make a few comments about our awards. We have instituted 2 new awards. First, I've already mentioned before, the Bowerman. Well, with nothing else said, that's our Heisman. Make sure you're there and you take care of it. And then we have our division awards. Our division awards are named for 2 candidates in Division I and 2 in Division III. The one in Division I for men is named after John McDonnell, the great coach from Arkansas, many-time national championship team. The women's award is in the recognition of the outstanding coach, Terry Crawford, who coached at the University of Texas and the University of Tennessee and California, and so she's coached a lot of different places. And then our Division III men's award is Al Carturis, and the women's award is Cartris Rien. I'm beating up her name, and I should have practiced harder. My wife had me reading it last night a few times, and I'm sure she's going to tell me that you messed it up again, so forgive me for that. But make sure that you're there for those awards. They'll be presented. And each of these coaches have won a Triple Crown, the big 3, the cross country, the indoor, and outdoor championship. So let's be sure to understand how great the name of the awards are. These people accomplished some incredible things, and the people receiving them in their programs are very accomplished programs. So we want to give them their proper recognition here tonight. Now let's spend a little time talking about budget. You can't never go any place without talking about money. You know, we hear it all the time. It's a down economy. Things are tough. And, you know, we're almost to a point where we're worried about this convention. But look at the dollars. In 2008, we're $1,040,000. That was our expenditures. Our intake in 2008, $1,080,000. You know, there's a brief difference there, but, you know, we met budget. These budgets that you're looking at, they have, you can see on the screen, I think they're on both sides of it here. You can look at 2009, we had $1,043,000, and we spent $1,023,000. We stayed in budget. And those are things that are very important to know that we're balancing. And this is by the IRS report. So this is not Sam's report of the dollars. This is the way the expenditures went out. This is the way the money came in. And so he's holding good stewardship and accountability as the IRS. We're in good shape. 2010 projected budget is $1,281,000, and his projected expenditures is $1,256,000. I mean, you see there that there's an increase expected in 2010. Sam's went out and found some different sponsors. He's found a sponsorship for our Bowerman to increase and expecting a large sum of money. That's different. You know, we lost some people last year. We lost about $80,000 in sponsorship, but with some way, Sam has replaced that and now coming up with another way to generate a projected budget of $1,281,000. So in turn, now let me tell you what we're going to do to take and spend that $1 million. We're going to a convention, but some things you need to look at that made that possible was the record attendance in 2009. Mindy was down here talking, and I heard her say that our registration was so crowded that the hotel lent us people from the restaurant. The chef was throwing T-shirts yesterday to keep them so that they could register. We had so many people coming in line in a down year, in a down economy, that we had to solicit help from the hotel management to help them out. And she was frustrated, but I was excited. I said, you know what, that's a good thing. Because the thing is, we could have been here and Sam and I could have been taking registration. And it would have taken longer. But I'm thankful that you chose to be here. You could have been somewhere else, but you chose to be here. And we're thanking you for the Division I coaches increasing to 472, Division II, 148, Division III, 192. NAIA moved from 14 to 24. High schools increased. And our total now, a total of 870. Last year, our total was 770. So we got in a down year, and you know you can look around and see people who came last year that might have taken a year off. So I want you to give yourselves for having come and attended this convention a round of applause. He keeps outdoing himself. You know, our committee, we have a committee set up to help find convention sites. Sam brings us 4 or 5 options. It gives us all of the amenities and what one will do for the other, the cost of the room. You know, I like $119 5-star hotel rooms where the vendors feed us all of our food. So, food, living. Miss Fry over here, she likes coming with me because she says, "Where's that convention going to be held?" And so it's going to be held in San Antonio, a new site under construction. I think you can see there it's going to be a phenomenal place. It's Marriott Hills Country Club in San Antonio, Texas. This starts our second decade of the 21st century kickoff of our convention. Finally, I'd like to speak about our membership. We had a record year, in Division 2 and 3, roughly, and Division 1, 2, and 3, and roughly 94% of all NCAA programs now are members of the association. You know, and I said a moment ago, we moved forward a little bit with the NAIA. I want you guys to go back and make an effort to make sure that if there are NAIA schools that don't know about us, that are in your area, that run in your meets, that you encourage them to become members of our association, along with encouraging our junior college to join as association members. Now, there's a guy behind all the madness. Almost 10 years ago, we were dead broke at the USA convention, having to find a little room in the corner to try to have a meeting, and been taken off of their agenda and have to pull our meetings into hallways. We're not being included in selections for teams for Olympics. We lost the sports festival, which included college coaches had an opportunity to hone their talents. We formulated, I think, down in Kentucky, a group of coaches and started our association. And then we had a leader, and he helped us for a while, and Jimmy Carnes did a good job. And then it came a chance you always have to grow, and we put out a call. And the call was to find somebody motivated, love track, and that could raise funds, and that most of the coaches could identify with. And that guy, I would like for him to come forward. I have challenged him. Sam Seams, would you please come forward? Well, you know, I always scout the other team. I know all the people coming back on Pat Henry's 4x1 and Dennis's 4x1. I scout the other team. Only way I'm gonna get close, and I mean close is the goal, because they always in front, but is to scout them. I asked Sam when I took over to do a scout job for us, to give us a comparison between our sport and the other NCAA sports. You know, I kind of want to know the relevance. You know, I already got my perceptions of how good I am. Shoot, if you ask me, I can beat Pat Henry running anytime. But I need the reality. Is he working out? So Sam, give us a comparison.
Good morning. Thank you, Curtis. I think we're lucky to have Curtis's leadership and as we head into this next decade, which is approaching very quick. If you would, take a deep breath, relax a little bit. Whether good or bad, I got quite a bit to say. But before we can talk about the future, we need to take a hard look at today. We need to take an honest look at the state of our sports. We need to look at as many facets as we can and take the full measure of where we are before we can make a step-by-step plan to take us to where we want to be. I've looked at many of these measures and I share them with you today. I think you will understand my next statement. Cross country and track and field are not dead, and they are not dying. But the prognosis is not good. Let's take a look at some numbers. They rarely lie. These first numbers are NCAA championship attendance figures for each sport across all three divisions. Looking at the three-year average numbers, we averaged about 3,000 fans at our men's and women's cross-country championships, about 8,000 fans at our indoor track and field championships, and about 21,000 fans at our outdoor track and field championships. Remember, these are total attendance numbers of all divisions at all three championships. That means out of 30 NCAA championships with attendance figures reported, cross country ranks 25th, indoor track and field ranks 19th, and outdoor track and field ranks 10th. Women's gymnastics, which has only one championship for all divisions, as opposed to our three in each sport, ranks ahead of both indoor track and field and cross country, coming in at 13th in total attendance. Men's volleyball, which has only one championship for all divisions, similarly ranks ahead of both indoor track and field and cross country. 3 championships combined. This means that more people attend one championship event in each of these sports than the total attendance across Division 1, 2, and 3 in indoor track and field. On the other hand, a number of the sports that I think our group considers as minor are in fact major championships with big-time attendance figures. Men's lacrosse ranks second overall in a 3-year average attendance figures across NCAA Divisions 1, 2, and 3 with an average total of attendance exceeding 134,000. Wrestling ranks third overall in a 3-year average attendance with an average total attendance, again, in Division 1, 2, and 3 with 108,000 plus. In fact, only rowing, women's water polo, men's and women's golf, and God help us, bowling, had lower average attendance than cross country over a 3-year period covered in the NCAA's most recent stats. Now let's take a look at championship gross receipts. Men's and women's cross country, indoor track and field, and outdoor track and field are also the only non-collegiate sports to host men's and women's combined championships together in every division. So when we speak of our receipts, those receipts are for both men's and women's combined. Of the 35 different championship events hosted by the NCAA, cross-country receipts rank 25th. Indoor receipts, 21st. Outdoor receipts, 15th. Our top sport in terms of gross receipts at the championships is outdoor track and field, brought in a total of $265,000 in 05-06, the last figures recorded. Just for comparison, because we do get compared, let's look at a few other sports. Women's gymnastics, 300,000 plus. Men's and women's soccer, each, not together, each, 600,000 plus. Softball, 900,000 plus. Women's volleyball, 1.5 million plus. Wrestling, 1.9 million plus. Lacrosse, 2.6 million plus. Cross country brought in only $34,786 in receipts, all 3 divisions, men and women. Indoor track, $97,000. In fact, the total for all 3 of our sports and all 3 divisions combined was $397,000, which would rank 14th out of the remaining 33 championships events. That's putting everything in the same basket. Let's compare our gross receipts to championship expenses. Cross country's gross receipts in all 3 divisions were $34,000. That covers 1.75% of the cost. Out of 35 NCAA championships reported in 2005-06, that ranks 29th. Indoor track and field and outdoor track and field's receipts to expenses comparisons are not much better, with gross receipts at the indoor championships covering 6.33% of expenses and gross receipts at the outdoor championship covering only 6.16% of expenses. Indoor track and field and outdoor track and field rank 25 and 26, respectively, out of 35 championship sports in the percent of championship expenses covered by receipts. What you spend, what you bring in. Let's look at a few other sports using this same measure. Men's and women's tennis championship receipts cover 8.54% and 8.6% plus. Women's water polo receipts cover 11.25%, and men's water polo covers 17.25% of their expense. Men's and women's soccer. Men's soccer covers 22.24%. Women's soccer covers 18.65% of their expenses. Women's ice hockey covers 26.41% of their expenses. And women's gymnastics covers 34.9% of their expenses, just for a few examples. Let's take a glance at television coverage. A total of 22 NCAA sports receive live television coverage of their championships in D1, 2, and 3. Division 1, 2, or 3 cross country and track and field are among those 22 sports, that's a good news. We do get something. The other side of that equation is how much live coverage each of those sports receives. Not surprisingly, men's basketball receives the most coverage, with all 3 divisions getting live coverage for 150 hours. That was in 2008-09. Men's baseball, though, is not far behind with a total of 125 hours of live coverage between Divisions 1 and 2 getting coverage. Cross country ranks tied for 19th out of 22 sports with only 1.5 hours of live coverage for Division 1 only. Field hockey also receives 1.5 hours of live coverage, and it's only women, not men and women. Only National Collegiate Men and Women's Water Polo, with each receiving 1 hour apiece, receive less coverage than cross country. Outdoor track and field ranks 14th out of 22 sports with 5 hours of live coverage for Division 1 only, ranking just behind National Collegiate Men's Volleyball and just ahead of men's and women's tennis. Next, let's take a moment to look at the salaries of head coaches in the different sports. The NCAA provides this data to the public on their website, but the data provided online for Division II and Division III hasn't been updated since 2003, which is a shame in itself. So we'll focus on 2008 data from the NCAA Division I. Keep in mind that all the numbers I refer to will be the median number, meaning that half of the NCAA Division I coaches in that sport are making less than that figure, and the other half are making less than. The median head coach salary for men's cross country and track in the NCAA Division I football bowl subdivision, which from now on I'll refer to as the FBS, is $70,000 a year. That ranks 13th out of 17 men's sports reported, only ahead of swimming, skiing, fencing, and rifle. For women's cross country and track and field in NCAA Division I FBS, the median head coach's salary is $77,000. That ranks 15th out of the 20 women's sports. In NCAA Division I FBS women's sports, only head coaches in, again, swimming, skiing, fencing, here's our friend bowling again, and rifle have lower median salaries than our head coaches. Only 5. You might be surprised to see the list of sports that have higher median head coaches' salaries than our women's head track and field coaches. Synchronized swimming, equestrian, water polo, crew, lacrosse, gymnastics, and field hockey. The story is pretty much the same when you look at NCAA Division I football championship subdivision, which I'll call FCS, which used to be Division 1A. The median men's cross country and track and field coach's salary is $42,000. That ranks 11th out of 17 men's sports. On the women's side, the median cross country and track and field head coach's salary in Division I FBS is $48,000, which ranks 12th out of 19 women's sports. And lastly, let's take a look at the NCAA Division schools that don't sponsor football. The median men's cross country and track and field head coach's salary is $33,000. That ranks tied for 12th out of 16 men's sports. Among this group, only tennis, and tennis, fencing, and rifle head coaches have a lower median salary. Turning to the women's side again, the median salary for head coaches at a Division I school without football is $34,000, which ranks 13th out of the 20 women's sports that are sponsored. I'm sure athletic administrative personnel would probably point to the relatively low revenue that our programs bring in as a major reason for the relatively low salaries of our head coaches. And believe me, you can equate that to our assistants. Unfortunately, NCAA Division I data from 2008 shows that not only is our median revenue very low, it is also far outpaced by the median expenses to run our programs. The median annual revenue generated by a cross-country and track and field program in NCAA Division I FBS is $39,000 for a men's program and $34,000 for a women's program. Again, remember we're talking about the median here, not the average. Some are above, some are below. Looking at the 37 men's and women's sports in Division I FBS, men's and women's cross-country and track and field programs rank 25th and 29th in generated revenue. At the same time, the median expenses for those same programs are $756,000 for a men's program and $821,000 for a women's program. So at the same time as we rank 25th and 29th in median generated revenue for our men's and women's programs, our median expenses rank 13th and 10th among the 37 men's and women's sports in Division I FBS. Median revenue for Division I FBS, men's and women's programs, covers 5.2% on the men's side and 4.1% on the women's side. Compare that to, say, equestrian, in which median revenue covers 14.7% of median expenses, or wrestling, in which median revenue covers 17.4% of expenses. Once again, the FCS division tells a similar story. Men's and women's cross-country and track and field programs rank 27th and 30th in median generated revenue out of 35 total men's and women's sports, while ranking 18th and 14th in expenses. Median revenue for Division I FCS men's and women's track and cross country covers only 5.4% on the men's side and 3.9% on the women's side of expenses. The numbers are only slightly different in the Division I programs without football. Men's and women's track and cross country ranked 27th and 28th in generated revenue out of 36 sports, while ranking 21st and 18th in expenses. Median revenue for men's and women's cross-country and track and field programs at Division I schools without football covers only 3.3% on the men's side and 2% on the women's side. We should and must be extremely concerned by these numbers, particularly in this time of economic difficulty and uncertainty for many of our athletic departments and our institutions. We have a tremendous task ahead of us if we want to improve our standing in the athletic community and society as a whole. The good news is that we do have positives on our side. Track and field and cross country are the largest participation sports in the NCAA. 27% of all the NCAA's 400,000 student athletes participate in our sport. On the women's side, track and field and cross country represent 32% of all NCAA female student athletes. This is the largest number of participation opportunities of any NCAA women's sport. On the men's side, we're also well represented, with 24% of all NCAA male student athletes competing in cross country and track and field, which is the second largest number of participation opportunities of any NCAA sport. In addition, the student athletes who participate in cross country and track and field represent a wide array of diverse backgrounds. In fact, minority female participation in track and field and cross country represents over 40% of all minority female student athlete participation in the entire NCAA. And we represent the largest number of minority female student athletes of any NCAA sport. Minority male participation in track and field and cross country represents a solid 24% of all minority male student athlete participation in the NCAA as well. Another positive aspect of our story is that our student athletes live up to the NCAA idea of the student athlete through their academic and athletic successes. The student athlete, according to the late Miles Brand, is a student first. Their primary reason for attending a college or a university is, or should be, to obtain an education. That education consists of both learning involved in achieving a degree and learning for life. In terms of the learning involved in achieving a degree, 1,106 of our teams were named USTFCCCA All-Academic Teams in 2008-2009 school year for their high cumulative GPAs. Furthermore, a total of 2,569 of our individual student athletes received all academic honors in 2008 and 9, an honor requiring both a high cumulative GPA and a high level of athletic achievement. In terms of what Brand called learning for life, every coach knows that student athletes learn many lessons from their competitive years. Lessons about time management, team management, hard work, sportsmanship, fair play, disappointment, and achievement. They learn from the diverse backgrounds of their teammates, their coaches. They learn from being in a setting where academic excellence comes first and athletic excellence second. After all, while some of our student athletes will go to compete athletically at the national or international level, the fact is that many more of those student athletes will enter society as professionals in other fields. Like the NCAA says, just about all of them are going pro in something other than sports. There is still another side to our story that is positive impact that our sports have on the large number of high school students who participate in cross country and track and field. Currently, more than 1.5 million U.S. high school students participate in the sports you coach, a number that continues to grow yearly. Ultimately, we are the guardians of our sports, and we must stand together if we are going to improve the prognosis for the future. We must begin to think in terms of we instead of I. In terms of what is good for our sport instead of what is good for me, my program, my conference, my division. We must recognize what unites us. It's our love for the sport. Our livelihood as coaches is far more important than the disagreements that at times we let divide us. We must be proud to say first and foremost, we are all coaches, and we must be proud of what it means to be a coach. We must defend our profession and defend our sports against all that threaten them, whether those threats come within or they come from outside forces. We are the guardians of our sports. We face a vital mission. Our sports, with their long traditions, their simplicity, their fundamental importance as the foundation of all other sports, face a serious threat. Our sports face the threat of becoming irrelevant to our society. We're at a crossroads in the history of our sports, and the choices that we make will determine in large part whether cross country and track and field ultimately decline to the point of irrelevance. I want to be clear in saying that this mission will take everything we have and then some. Innovative ideas from our brightest minds, politicking and lobbying from our best communicators, implementation and execution from our finest organizers, and commitment to the cause and unity of purpose for all of us. It will take hard work and hard choices from every single one of us sitting in this room and from our colleagues around the country who are not here. If we choose not to accept this mission, if we ignore the call to defend our sports and defend our profession at this most significant time in their history, then we have already made a choice. We have chosen to stand idly by and watch the sports that we claim to love and that many of us depend upon for our livelihoods slip into obscurity. If we choose to accept this mission, there is no guarantee we will succeed, and there are no shortcuts in the process. Know that if we choose to accept this mission, we're choosing to take the hard road that may not end in the outcome we desire. It is the same kind of choice that we present our student athletes each and every day. My question is, are we willing to set our hearts, our minds, and our bodies to the task with no guarantees that we will achieve? So I ask you, will you lay aside your differences, come together around the cause of our sports and our profession? Will you work together as a body to determine a course of action? And will you accept what the body's final decision on that course is, even if you disagree with it? Will you work hard to achieve that course that is determined, rejecting any opportunity that you might have to undermine it? I'm calling on you to take a stand, not for me, but for our sports, for our profession, and for us to work together for a positive change for the future. Have a great week.
Am I on? Hi. Don't leave. Sit down. Dr. Walker wanted to have a few minutes to speak, and we're on a fast schedule, and I couldn't. So if you get a chance, he wanted me to encourage you and let you know. After hearing Sam, and he started tearing up on the doom of looking at the numbers that was on the board. He said, "I need to give you fellas $1,000 to kind of help y'all out." And Doc, I appreciate the $1,000. I'll take it and I'll give it to Sam. But I was waiting for the caveat from Sam of how to control your destiny. The request to Sam was to find comparison. If you don't know what you're doing and you don't know what the other team's doing, and like one of my colleagues say, if you ain't in the huddle, you can't run the play. You got to get in the huddle. We got to know what other people are getting paid. That's important. We got to know what the budgets are. That's important. We need to know how much we cost our president. We got to know. So, without very much else, to be strong, we have to follow the directions of our CEO. And whenever we think that he's leading us in the wrong way, we change him. So I accept. I have my hand raised, Sam. Divisiveness, I got it. Disagree, I got it. Participate, I got it. Raise the bar. Forget the mistakes of the past. Press on to the greater achievements of the future. To give so much time to improvement of yourself that if you have no time to criticize others. I picked it up. To talk health, happiness, prosperity to every person you meet, to be so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind. Sam, I got it. To be too large for worry, too noble to be angry, too strong to fear, and too happy to be troubled. No one, nobody owes us anything and owes us a living. What we achieve or what we fail to achieve is in our hands. It is in our hands in the direction or in direct ways. It is in our hands in indirect ways. It's in our hands on what we do, but what we fail to do. Without knowledge, you surely will fail to do the right things. Everyone has a problem and everyone has an obstacle. But it is what you do with your problem and with your obstacle. Nothing is carved in stone. Everything they got up there, every number that he gave you, those are numbers, but they're not in stone. All of them can be elevated. If you change anything in your life, if you want to do it bad enough, you can change anything. And those are Louise and Buck's statement. My mom and daddy were important to me, so I followed their statements later on in time. Time plays no factor on achievement. The same things we tell our athletes.